Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about something you see all the time: company mission and vision statements. You know, those big, lofty sentences on the About Us page. We're going to break down how they're actually so much more than just words. When they're done right, they're the blueprint for everything. Okay, so let's just get right to it. The big question is, are these things just, corporate fluff? Are they just feel-good nonsense like it's slapped on a poster? Or do they actually do something important? Well, the answer might surprise you. So here's how we're going to tackle this. We're going to use that classic management framework. You've probably heard of it: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. And you're going to see how a really compelling mission isn't just decoration. Nope, it's the glue, the thread that ties all of those pieces together into one powerful game plan. All right, let's dive in. First stop, planning. This is where the rubber meets the road, where that big, dreamy vision starts to look like an actual blueprint for action. It's actually pretty simple when you think about it. Your mission? That's your why. It's the big, shiny destination you're trying to get to. But the strategy? Well, that's the how. It's the turn-by-turn directions, the actual map that's going to get you there. It's what turns a big idea into what people actually do every single day. Super important for making sure everyone's rowing in the same direction, right? Okay, so you've got this amazing blueprint. Fantastic. But a blueprint's just paper if you don't have a team and a structure to actually build the thing. So how do you set up your company to make it all happen? That brings us to our next big idea: organizing for purpose. And to really get this, let's look at a killer example. Remember when Disney bought Pixar? Everyone, and I mean everyone, thought, well, that's it. Disney the giant is going to crush the creative magic out of Pixar. But it didn't happen. Why? The secret is all in how they organize things, specifically to protect that creative spark. And check this out. Every single one of these choices was made to protect Pixar's mission of just making amazing, creative films. They kept it as its own division, right, that protected the culture. They gave creatives tons of leeway and made it okay to share unfinished work. That's how you get innovation. And these postmortems after a project? That's just a genius way to make sure you're always learning. See? The structure is literally built to serve the strategy. It's perfect. But here's the thing. A fancy org chart is only half the story. You've got the informal culture, right? The how things really get done around here vibe. And that can be way more powerful. And man, if that culture is fighting your vision, you are in for a world of hurt. A classic example of this is something called not invented here syndrome. And this slide just lays it out so clearly. Look at Procter & Gamble. For decades, their culture was super inward-looking. They basically thought if we didn't invent it, it can't be any good. But then, around 2000, they had this huge shift in vision. They wanted to be all about open innovation. To do that, they had to actively go to war with their own not-invented-here culture. They had to rewire the whole company to start welcoming ideas from the outside. That's a massive change. So, besides the official structure, there's this other thing going on. Some people call it the invisible organization. It's basically the social network of the company. Who talks to who trusts who. It's how stuff really gets done. And it turns out this network has 3 huge advantages. Through these networks, you get the inside scoop on information. You can tap into all sorts of different skills, and you can find out who has the real power to make things happen. This is exactly what Disney gets right with Pixar. They've built a place where a storyteller can just casually go talk to a programmer, no red tape. They break down those formal walls because they know that's where the magic, the innovation really happens. All right, so you've got the structure. Now you need the spark. You need the people who can get everyone fired up and moving. And that, of course, brings us to leadership. When you think of a great leader, you usually think of someone with a vision, right? I mean, think about Walt Disney. The guy looked at a literal swamp in Florida and somehow saw Disney World. That's leadership. It's having that crazy, compelling vision and then getting other people to see it too. It's about making what seems impossible, possible. But being a visionary leader isn't just about daydreaming. It's about actually doing things. It means you got to get out of your corner office and see what's happening on the ground. It means making bold moves that show everyone the old way is over. And maybe most important of all, it means finding people who get it and empowering them to lead the charge. And here is a fantastic real-world example. The CEO of Johnsonville Sausage, Ralph Stair, didn't just give his team a sales goal. Instead, he asked this incredible question. He asked the entire company, What would we have to be to sell the most expensive sausage out there and still be #1 in market share? Now that is a vision. It's a quest. And this is the real genius of it. When everyone in the company shares that vision, it's like putting the whole organization on cruise control. You don't have to micromanage. People at every single level can make their own decisions, and you can trust that those decisions are going to be the right ones because everyone is aiming for the same destination. It's incredibly powerful. So let's recap. We've got our blueprint, we've built the structure, the team is fired up and ready to go. But how do you make sure you're actually staying on the right path? How do you know if you're drifting off course? Well, that's where the all-important idea of controlling comes in. And at its heart, controlling is just a really simple but totally crucial feedback loop. It's 3 steps. 1, you set up performance standards that come straight from your mission. 2, you measure how you're actually doing against those standards. And 3, if you see a problem, if you're starting to drift, you fix it. Simple as that. Now, to do this right, you need a whole dashboard of different kinds of metrics. You need what are called lagging indicators, things like your quarterly financials that tell you what already happened. Then you need pacing indicators, like are your deliveries on time right now? But honestly, the real secret sauce is the leading indicators, things like customer referrals. These are the metrics that give you a peek into the future so you can steer the ship before you hit the iceberg, not after. So we've gone through planning, organizing, leading, controlling, the whole framework. But you can have the best plan, the best structure, the best everything, and it's all worthless without the single most important piece of the puzzle, the people. And this is where strategic human resources management, or SHRM for short, comes into play. It sounds complicated, but it's really just the process of making sure all your people decisions are lined up with your mission. Who you hire, how you train them, how you pay them, who you promote, every single one of those things needs to support the big goal. It's how you build a team that doesn't just know the mission, but is actually fired up and has the tools to make it happen. So you see, it all comes back to this. The mission and vision, they're not just something you do at the beginning, in the planning phase. No way. They're the golden thread that runs through everything. They guide the plan, they shape the organization, they inspire the leaders, and they even tell you what to measure to stay on track. So look, if you take away just one thing today, let it be this. A great mission statement isn't just a fancy plaque you hang in the lobby. It's the frickin' operating system for the entire company. It's active, it's alive, and it drives everything. And that leaves us with a final question. A challenge, really. Think about your own organization. Take a good, hard look at it. The structure, the culture, the way leaders behave. Is it really, truly designed to make your strategy succeed? Is it actually built to win?